2 years after winning my Emmy, everybody knew Montel Williams. We were able to keep the press out of the hospital. But I laid on a gurney in Beth Israel North, and I was watching, because I was there because over a 30-day period of time, I had bled from my nose about 27 times. I've been through 3 surgeries, been through 3 cauterizations. They didn't know what to do. I was laying in Beth Israel North with a large balloon up between my sinus cavity and my brain, and I started bleeding through that balloon. And I watched myself while I was laying on this gurney. My heartbeat at the time was 54. I watched it go to 42, 36, 27, and then I swear I think I saw it go boom. Now the truth is, it took doctors 18 minutes to completely revive me and get me ready for, 4 hours later, a 17-hour surgery that I was able to keep out of the press. And what they did was, and I'll tell you what happened and why. Throughout my life, when I was younger, I was a boxer, I was a martial artist. I spent a lot of time getting punched in the face, broke my nose several times, and what we didn't know is that where bones break, blood vessels get larger, because I had broken my nose 4 times. The blood vessels in my sinus cavity were about the size of my finger. They were pumping so much blood to the back of my sinus cavity that I literally started almost bleeding to death. The good thing about it is that after a 17-hour surgery, when I woke up from that bed, first off, the first thing I did was to find a woman who was the anesthesiologist that kept me out that long, and I thanked her for giving me my life back. But then I sat in that bed for the next 5 days in intensive care and really kind of reflected on my life and realized how much time I had been wasting on things that are just so insignificant, because about 12 hours earlier, I could have died and not been a part of this life that I'm having right now, which is the most fabulous life I could ever imagine. And when I reflected on that, I knew immediately that I had some things that had to change in my life. And so I started off immediately trying to work on my health. I was trying to work on my diet, and back then I was one of these guys who used to think that the more space I took up, the bigger man I was. So I was one of these guys walking around a big weight head, weighing about 225, 230 pounds, bench pressing well over 350, squatting well over 500 pounds, deadlifting over 600 pounds. For what? All that together couldn't even get me a cup of coffee. But I did this. And I realized immediately I had to make a change, and then guess what happens? 6 months later, I'm on an airplane. How many of you guys remember the television show Touched by an Angel? Remember that? I played one of the worst characters on Touched by an Angel's history. I played a guy who was a cult leader, and during the episode, I was getting ready to burn everybody in my little cult, and Roma Downey Jr. comes over, and there's a spot where I'm burning up in flames, and Roma looked at me, and they said, should we save him? And they said, nah. So I'm the only character that went straight to purgatory off of Touched by an Angel. But what had happened when I got there, everybody thought I had done such an amazing acting job, because there were several moments in this performance where I had to cry on cue. And you could just say, cry. Montel was full of tears and had no understanding or couldn't even figure out why, but I could just drop it at a drop of a dime. Well, what was going on was, when I flew out to do this episode, I'd been on a plane from New York to Utah. My feet caught on fire. Not literally, but figuratively. And that was my second symptom of MS. And on that day, since that day, they've never gone out. 3 days later, I had to shoot this episode where I'm crying like a baby, and I didn't have to rely on anything except for how bad my feet felt. And for the next 3 or 4 years, I wallowed in muck, because it took them another month. They diagnosed me with MS. And I, like the doctor who had the nerve to tell me when I walked in his room weighing 214 pounds with a 30-inch waist, he looked at me and said, oh, looks like you have MS. You're going to be in a wheelchair in about 4 years. The show you're doing, you're probably going to have to give it up, because you're not going to be able to handle the stress. And I thought to myself, that day, just like what happened 6 months before when I was at Beth Israel North, where doctors were preparing me to die, I didn't die. And now I walk in here, and you're telling me that my life is over? You didn't know me. So how dare you And that's when I realized that I alone own the definition of who I am. So what does that mean? That means that I will never have to live up to anybody's expectation but my own, or live down to anybody's expectation but my own. So what does that mean? So that means that when we're talking about things like today, health, happiness, that means that if you stop for a minute and stop listening to all the ads and all the things that tell you that you need this pill for this, you need that pill for that, you need this procedure for this, that procedure for that, you don't. The knowledge you need, and I'm so thankful to be on a stage with so many experts, the knowledge you need is in the books of all these experts. Simple for you to reach out and grab. You've been listening all day long about how to improve and make your life better. Let me give you a couple ways to do it right now, because I don't want you to walk out of here with just theoretical. I'm going to want you to walk out of here right now with knowledge, the ability to understand exactly how you can change your life. How many of you in here think that your brain can physically control your body? Raise your hand if you believe it. All right. Can I have the house lights again for a second? Because I got to see if these guys really, really, truly think this. So I want you all to help me out. And you know, I got some guys backstage that said they were going to help me out. It's a little experiment, so watch this. Give these guys a hand. These are all the guys, the crew members who do this stuff. Make sure the life work and all that. Thanks, sir. How you doing? What's your name? Ryan, what's your name? Stefan. I didn't talk to you guys about this beforehand at all, did I? I just said, come out and help me out, right? So they're going to help me along with you. I want everybody in the room, put down your phones, put down things in your hands. Everybody look right at me. Everybody look right at me. You look. All right, now I'm going to prove to you that your brain controls your body in ways that you've never imagined. I want everybody in the room, three of you, take your left hand, hold it. Take your right hand or left hand, whichever hand you eat with, hold it right here. Now, this is really important. You got to stop looking at me, and you have to look at your fingers and listen to me. Look at your fingers. Because what you're holding right now in your fingers, it's the tastiest piece of food you ever had in your life. I'm telling you, if you like Snickers candy bars, you like barbecue spare ribs, you like crab cakes, you like Cheetos, whatever that is that you like, I'm telling you your favorite food, I want you to look at it right now. Everybody look at it. Look at it. You get ready to get a nice bite of your favorite piece of food. All right, everybody at the same time, when I count it in, take that piece of food. Watch me now for a second. Take that piece of food, and look back at your food. I want you to get ready. You're going to put it in your mouth on the count of three. Ready? 1, 2, sight. Hold on. Don't put it in yet. Look at it. Come on. Right now, I think I have in my hand my father-in-law's spare rib, barbecue spare rib. Dripping down my fingers right now. I haven't had one in 6 months, but I won't. Right here. Ready? Count of 3. 1, 2. Put it in your mouth now. Throw a sight. Last time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Bite it. Take a nice big bite. How many people in this room's mouth right now? It's not salivating? All right, look around, sir. You're the only person who's not. Everybody else in this room, second, you just tricked your brain into thinking you had food, did you not? You got saliva in your mouth, sir?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So guess what? Give these guys a big round of applause. Now, silly little experiment, right, Montel? No, let me tell you how powerful this is. If you, like me, or you, a person in this room right now who has been diagnosed by your psychiatrist, psychologist, as suffering from depression, you're a person who has been told that you have some issues that you need to deal with and work on because of depression. I was diagnosed with depression, and I worked on this as hard as I could. I'm not going to tell you to stop seeing your doctor, but what I'm going to tell you to do is the same way that you initiated a physical response in your body to your thoughts. You can do the same thing when you were spiraling yourself out of control and spiraling yourself down, talking about yourself and telling yourself that you've done so many things that are wrong. If you flip that paradigm, you have the ability to talk yourself right back out of these abysses that you fall in. It doesn't work overnight. But what it does do is it should convince you that The same way that you just changed the way your mouth works, you can change the way you think about yourself if you work at it. Now, I have a book that's out right now that is Living Well Montel, Living Well Emotionally. And we were going to try to make sure that every single one of you in this room had a copy of 17 tips that I had in your bag. But unfortunately, it's not there. So on Monday, it will be emailed to every one of you. And today, when you walk out this door, you go up on my Facebook, just look up Montel Williams, whatever you do on Facebook, find me there. And on Facebook, all 17 tips will be there. And what are these tips about? If you can employ any 3 of them on any given day, I can guarantee you that you'll start to make yourself feel better. Let me give you an example. House lights up again real quick so I can make sure people are paying attention. So take a look at me. Everybody in the room, this is going to be a tough one, because we don't like to pay attention, but I'm going to try to get you to do it. I want everybody in the room to close your eyes, and guess what? I can see if you're peeking. I can see the little glimmer on the backside of your glasses that shows eyeballs there. Close them. Close them. You too? You ain't special. All right, have them close their eyes. Everybody got their eyes closed. All I want you to do right this second is just take a really deep breath and hold it until I tell you to release it. Ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold it in. Let it out. Gonna do it again. Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Deep breath. Hold it in. I see you peeking. Hold it out. Let it out. Now on this last breath in, keep your eyes closed, but hear me. I want everybody in the room to think about the most positive thought you have in your life. For me right this minute, I'm thinking about the day I walked across that stage at the United States Naval Academy, got my commission and threw my hat in the air. I'm thinking about right now the day that I married my wife. One of the most beautiful days of my life on the beach in Bermuda. At the count of 3, I want you to take a deep breath in, hold your thought for as long as this breath. Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold the thought. Let it out. Open your eyes. Shake your head for a second. Tell me who doesn't feel a little bit better. 30 seconds, folks. Wait a minute. 30 seconds. You can change the way you feel. So how do you apply this? When I came in here, I had you all stand up. You stood up, you sat down. Everybody had a smile on their face when they sat down. You're sitting in your office and you're as grumpy as you can be. Your boss just called you, just made you mad. You got a call from that boyfriend, girlfriend, your wife, you didn't bring on the right things. Everybody do this, stand up. Everybody. This just happened to you in your office. Stand up. You're standing up now, right now, without hitting the person next to you. I just want you to take your hands like this. Shake them up, girls. Yes. Do it. Do it. Faster. 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 Harder. More vehemence. Come on, do it. Come on, I'm looking at the clock. Do it more. 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 Stop. Sit down. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Let it out. If you were sitting in your office angry, do you not feel a little bit better? Look, what am I doing? I'm not trying to simplify happiness, but what I'm trying to do is make you recognize that happiness is a lot simpler than you think. Because one of the things that's so crazy is that we've gotten caught up in this country, in this country specifically, because of the amount of psychotropic medication that we take. We, for some reason in this country, all feel like we're supposed to walk around 24 hours a day happy as you can be. And guess what? It's never going to happen. We are all human beings. Human beings have a right to be happy, have a right to be sad, have a right to be in the middle. When you wallow on any one of them, problems begin. Let me show you some science that backs it up. The science that backs up what I've been talking about. You can hit the slide for me, please. A doctor by the name of Dr. Lubomirski came up with this formula now 4 years ago. It's the new happiness formula. And lots of doctors, lots of psychiatrists, psychologists around the world are now tuning in to this slide. And here's the reason why. If you look at it, it shows you at the bottom in green. How you feel at any given second of the day, 50% of that is caused by your genes. what you were born with. You know the person who can come